Hello friends, let's create an awesome spongy Italian flatbread today from scratch. This baking masterpiece is a creative way to bring out the culinary artist in you. You can replicate your beautiful garden or a castle merely by using veggies and flour. So let's get going and make this wonderful art focaccia today. We will require plain flour 2 cups, instant dry yeast 2 teaspoons, salt 1 teaspoon, sugar 2 tablespoons, olive oil as required, and some fresh cherry tomatoes, green and black olives, and some delightful and colorful veggies, the selection of which would purely depend on what you intend to create on your food canvas. So, I can't wait to get started. Have a cup of warm water ready and remember never to use hot water. Stir in the dry yeast. Add the sugar and stir well. The sugar is the food for the yeast. Any variation in the quantity of sugar will affect the quality of focaccia. So really, we need to stick to the measurements. Keep mixing for a few seconds until everything is combined well. The yeast used and temperature of water is very crucial at this stage. If your yeast is expired, you will not get a good rise, and if you use hot water, the yeast will be killed instantaneously. Once the ingredients are combined well, cover it and let it rest at room temperature for about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes mark, the yeast mixture looks foamy and cloudy. Stir the mixture well with a wooden spoon or a fork until the yeast is completely dissolved. It should be smooth, silky and creamy before we start preparing the dough. If your yeast is not cloudy even after the 15 minutes mark, discard the mixture and start afresh. Next up is making the dough. I have sifted the plain flour thrice and kept ready here. Let's add the salt first. If the concentration of the salt is way too high, it can indeed kill the yeast. So add only as per the recipe. Remember, salt is what brings out the flavor in the bread and controls yeast growth so that the resulting crumb is nice and even. Add Italian seasoning of your choice to the dough and give a quick mix before moving further. Next, we need to mix in the yeast mixture. Initially, we will work through the mixture with a wooden spoon and then we can use our hands. It precisely requires about 7 to 10 minutes to put together the dough. The initial consistency is going to be wet and sticky, which is not a reason of worry. Stickiness is related to the hydration in your dough. Don't add any more flour at this stage. When you can feel that the dough is elastic and soft to touch, keep it in a large bowl for rising and don't forget to cover it with a cling wrap before you keep it in the refrigerator for about 8 hours. After the 8 hours mark, remove it from the refrigerator. You will see that the dough has doubled and there are small air pockets in the dough. Now it has to be kept at room temperature for another 2 hours. Then we will start working on our sticky dough. Initially, you may find it very difficult to put together the dough, but remember, no more flour. You may use olive oil if required. Now, let's grease a pan with oil and transfer our dough. Spread it evenly into the pan carefully. Transfer the dough onto the pan and spread evenly with your hands. Don't worry if the dough is still sticky, this bread is meant to be that way. Next, we will need to apply oil onto the dough if required. Let's move on to decorate our focaccia with all the wonderful veggies we can find. This would be a good time to put your imaginative license to good use and let your creativity flourish. I have used fresh cherry tomatoes, baby corn, zucchini, olives, cilantro and dried rosemary. If you could get hold of some fresh rosemary, then nothing like it. Let the decorated dough canvas rest at room temperature for about 20 minutes without covering. You will see tiny bubbles appearing on the dough after a while, which is a good sign and a compelling indicator that it's time to start the final process of baking. Bake at 190 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes in the middle rack of the oven. As I always say, oven temperatures may vary, so do keep a watch on your Italian flatbread. When it is done, it will be golden brown on top as well as the underside of the bread. This soft, rich and chewy bread with a hint of crunchy texture around the edges personifies perfection in every bite when served warm. Hope you loved this recipe as much as I did. So hoping this baking artistry video would inspire many of my viewers and subscribers to try out this creative recipe over the weekend. It's easy and the outcome simply breathtaking. I hope you will not forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel with the bell icon on. I will meet you coming week with a surprise recipe. Stay tuned for more from this end. Till then, bye-bye.